it's Pastor Dan from Dexter Gospel Church. Thanks for watching this Proverbs Practical. Today's verse urges us to remember what God has told us, not just with our minds, but with our hearts and lives. We're in Proverbs 3, verse 1. It says, "My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments." There's a perpetual danger of forgetting what we once knew. Tolkien warned about this in The Lord of the Rings. We all know the old adage, use it or lose it. That which we are not careful to remember, we eventually forget. So pardon God the repeated reminders to remember. In fact, it must seem a little strange to Him, who knows everything and never forgets anything and never changes, to have to constantly remind us, who live so briefly, to constantly remember things. But He knows our frame, that we are dust, and so He reminds us to remember. The opposite of not remembering, though, or of forgetting here, isn't just remembering. The opposite of not forgetting, or of forgetting rather, is actually to keep the commandments. The word for keeping doesn't just mean to put them in a safe deposit box somewhere and make sure that they don't go anywhere, but to observe them and to do them. And notice that it's not just remembering them. It's not just to have a memorized list of instructions. It's not even just to go through the motions of doing them, but to do them from the heart. Sometimes people think that the Old Testament was all about the external and Jesus is the one who brought the emphasis to the internal. In reality, that emphasis was always there because Jesus is the God who wrote the Old Testament law. But people missed it, getting caught up on the externals, then the extensions of the externals, until they were kind of flying on moral autopilot, not obeying God's actual instructions from the heart. Jesus just showed them how different they were from what God always intended. A love and obedience that came from the heart and worked its way through the mind and the life. So yes, make sure not to forget what you learned from God's Word, but also to be sure to live it from the heart. I hope this video is a help to you. If it is, give it a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more content from the Scriptures. We'd love to see you in the comments here, especially if you have a prayer request or question from the Scriptures. And we'd love to see you in person here at Dexter Gospel Church. Until next time, I hope you stay well and keep wisdom from the heart.